Happy Libations Friday, everybody. That was close. Woo, just got it in under the wire there. Roger Daltrey almost had me. Online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live. Via streaming free. Always don't miss anything. But if you do go back, get caught up at your leisure. I was trying to read something, and then it's like, hey, man, he's about to sing. Loosey Goosey. On Twitter, it's at Jay Cambridge Show. YouTube is up and running. Hello, YouTubers. All guests appear is the word, via the Phone Hero hotline. Phone Hero specializing in iPhone and iPad repair. 2 locations, 2915 Cary Forest Parkway, 833 West Gain Street. Online at phoneherotlh.com. Sorry, I was just once again reading this Raekwon Gray statement. My eyes aren't what they used to be, Tom. And I was trying to get this here Mac to enlarge the picture. And it wasn't doing what I wanted to do, and all of a sudden the music was all coming to a crescendo. I was getting very nervous. But that is the lead for the day. Not the Final Four, not renderings of new stadium proposals and all this other stuff, or should I say variations of said stadium, because the stadium's not being replaced, but it's going to look different. We'll get to that later in the show. But Raekwon Gray has put his name in and is calling it a day with Florida State. He has entered his name into the 2021 NBA draft, pursuing his dreams, as he notes, of becoming an NBA player. At times, it was hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel, but I am forever grateful for these last 4 years, is how that statement concluded. And so we can all collectively say two things. Thank you, and damn it!
Nothing stops this train.
Not just screwing, Mitch.
Ouch! Growing up, I never thought I would be in the position I am today. Coming from Fort Lauderdale, I never thought that I would play high-level Division I basketball and graduate with my degree after 4 years. I want to start off by thanking God for blessing me with the gifts I have and keeping me safe and protected along my journey. To my mother and sister, thank you for being there every step of the way with me. I love you so much, and I would not be in the position I am today if it wasn't for the love and support you show me each and every day. To the entire coaching staff at FSU, thank you! Exclamation point. He is thanking everybody with a lot of zeal, as he should. It's a great day for him, admittedly. I'm just saddened to see him go because he has emerged as a great player. He goes on to say, Coach Ham, you have been a father figure to me and have trusted me throughout the process, showing me how much there is. I can't even read this, Tom. Can you read it?
I can pull it up. I think he's saying showing me the sand pits.
Is much more to life than basketball. To Coach CY, Coach Jones, Coach Smith.
I got you.
Coach Bradley. Yeah, I'm beginning to – my eyes are adjusting now. You guys have always seen my potential. Now you pick it up from there.
All right, and we have built unbreakable bonds, and I will forever be grateful to you guys. Amanda, thank you for being like a second mom to me throughout and always keeping me healthy and positive. Thank you to the Seminole Nation for a memorable 3 seasons. We have some of the best fans in the nation. You guys never failed to pack the tuck, and I will forever be a Seminole. A side note, that's true. In his time here,
he got to see it happen.
All he knew was a place like that. Last and certainly not least to my teammates, we have built unbreakable, inseparable relationships that will last for the rest of our lives. Y'all will forever be brothers for life.
Yeah, that's good stuff. It's a great statement. He thanks everybody, parents and family and coaches and fans and teammates. It's all there, and we wish him nothing but the best. Raekwon Gray has been a joy to watch. I love that he committed himself to his fitness in the offseason and became the player we've got glimpses of from time to time in his first couple years here. So that's good. And I think, honestly, he's only going to get better. Now, what is he at the next level? I don't know. This is hotly debated. He's not a slam dunk. He's not a guaranteed thing. I wish him well. I hope he has a good career, and I hope he makes a lot of money, and I hope he's successful because he's really given of himself in his time here.
From the files of You Never Know, if you had to pick one of the players in the last 5 years to come out of Florida State, and there have been a lot of them that have entered into the NBA, who is going to be quite successful and a regular, I don't know that Terrence Mann would be in your top 3. I don't know at the time that he left. He would be in the top 3. And yet I see that his numbers in the last handful
Continue to
of games for the
climb.
Clippers are really good. They're efficient. He's an NBA regular. I saw Corey Clark compiled the numbers this morning from his last 5 games. He's averaging just under 15 points. Like, he's a regular in their rotation. So you never know. Raekwon certainly, to me, has a better case than Terrence did when both of them are exiting college and entering the NBA. But I think this is also starting the clock on making money wherever it is. And good for him, man. Go get your money. It just was a kick to the boys for next season.
Kick to the boys. It's tough. And I'll say this about Terrence Mann. We always knew he was a Swiss Army knife. He did a lot of things very well, none of them superbly, right? So you just love to have him because he was instinctive, he was quick, he was athletic, but he did a lot of things well. I never thought he would score enough at that level because he didn't have a very refined offensive game. A lot of his points seemed to come around getting rebounds, doing the dirty work, getting back, putbacks and those kinds of things, keeping possessions alive. But he wasn't one of these guys that was just a spot-up shooter. He wasn't one of these guys that you really thought, okay, he's going to beat you off the bounce, get to the rack, and up and under or anything like that. But it's gotten better and better and better. And one of the things is, this is true. This is why when we have the larger conversation about Scotty Barnes or anybody else, players are this one thing when they're here in the eyes of fans, right? Well, he can do this or he can't do that or he does this very well or he doesn't. But remember, the NBA is looking at potential of a young man who, when once dedicated solely to basketball, will improve these other areas. So what they see is the wingspan, the height. These are things you can't coach. They either have or they don't have, right? You have a requisite level of athleticism or size or whatever it might be. From there, have you shown that you have the potential, once dedicated to the sport full-time, to emerge as a much better shooter or ball handler or rebounder or not, right? Are you already at the top level of what you could become? And that's why there are guys who are really productive in college that don't project real well. That the scouts will look at and say, I don't think he's ever going to get any better. He's as good as he's going to get. And that's fine because he's a really good player for his school right now, and he's averaging 17 within their offense. But if he comes to the league, we're running a different system. He's going to have to be able to do more off the bounce, or he's going to have to be a better shooter, and I'm not sure that's in him. Other guys you look at, you say, he's just scratching the surface, but I can't teach that body. That's Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes, people look at him, they're like, how is this guy a lottery pick? He's not even the best player on the floor on a given night. Well, because nobody's built like that at 18. Nobody can do the things that he does physically at that age. So go ahead and project out 5 years and make him 23 years old when he puts his man weight on, and make him 23 years old, 5 years worth of steady shooting the basketball, handling the basketball every day with other NBA players and NBA coaches whose sole job it is to bring out the best in you. And all you got is time, man. Where you going? Not to class. You're an NBA player. You're hired by us. So that's why you see these projections. It's also bringing me back to my original point here. I don't know with Raekwon. This was the first year that he dedicated himself physically in the offseason and came into camp in great shape. He took huge strides to the point where I said you could make a legitimate argument for him to have been the ACC Player of the Year. You could make that argument, let alone a first-team ACC player, which he didn't get, which is ridiculous and criminal. But he also didn't play well in the tournament, really faded down the stretch.
Both tournaments.
Struggled mightily there and had limitations, and his game does have some limitations. So on the one hand, at his best, he did a lot of things exceptionally well. At his worst, he was very limited in that he's not quick, he's not a prolific shooter. He is a big body, but he's going to come across bigger bodies in the NBA. So some of the bully ball that he was able to employ in college, that ain't happening in the NBA. Yeah. It'll be interesting.
I think the best thing for him in terms of translatability to the next level, if that's a word, I just made it up. If not, is his quick hands in the passing lanes.
Very quick hands.
He defensively. I think he's somebody that you could look at right now because of what he could give you. I mean, in situations, you're not playing him 20 minutes a night, 25 minutes a night. But I love the wingspan and the active hands in the passing lanes. That's going to prove, I think, pretty good for wherever he plays next. But I think that's the one detail right now that if you said, can you promise me anything about Raekwon Gray at the NBA level, I'd say other than his quick hands, I don't know. I don't know how that's going to match up.
I don't either, but I wish him well. Again, this is where people are paid a lot more than I am to do that kind of analysis and decide whether or not an NBA franchise should spend millions of dollars on somebody. I don't, that he's a tough one. He's a bit of a tweener in so many ways for me, and
Could have used more evidence. More evidence.
Could
more
have used
film.
a lot more evidence. Yep, another couple years even, Raekwon. I'd reconsider. You can have a statement, but
no word in the statement about retaining the services of
I
an
didn't
agent.
read that. Right?
Yeah.
Jeff Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio. Moving ever closer to the spring game. Excited about that. Final Four this weekend. Are we just going to get what we want? I think we're going to get what we want. Gonzaga Baylor.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think Gonzaga they're going to keep up their end of the bargain.
Woo!
Houston's got an outside shot, though, right?
They're so fun to watch. I guess Houston has an outside shot to beat Baylor, but man, I have fallen in love with this Gonzaga team, and I don't want to. I don't like it. I don't want to watch them because I don't want them to win. I don't have any kind of fondness for them or anything like that, but except for when you watch them play, they are electrifying. They are – I guess I don't have anything against Gonzaga. I'm just fairly indifferent is what I'm trying to say.
Well, we've seen them a lot in the tournament. I think that's where that comes
from. You
from.
built up some animosity. We built up some animosity. But when I watch them play, man – wow, it is 1,000,000 miles per hour, and it is so well organized in the sense that guys do not throw it away. And, maybe they're a little bit more of what I thought we could have been even a year ago. Unfortunately, that team didn't get the chance to make the run through the tournament. But
it's funny, where my head's at now that Florida State's out of the March Madness, because when you said we're going to get what we want, my first thought after you were listing all these sports was Trey Jones golf team on Golf Channel, because we've made it to that level. My mind has already shifted now to the golf team. Let's close. Let's make it on Golf Channel so we can watch for the national championship live. Florida State competing. That's what I want.
I get nervous
talking
about
watch party
that.
for that.
Yeah, we will have a watch party for that, man. It'll be a very niche watch party, but let's go. Let's watch. Good times. Yeah, Trey's in a good mood these days. He's got a squad. He's got a squad. He knows it. And, but golf is so fickle. That's the problem with golf. It's somebody gets hot, you can't control the other guy.
Oh, yeah, you might not make it out of the regional because you just have a bad couple of days and you have 3 guys pick the same 2 days. That can happen. But this is also the weird thing, being that we're terrible at football these days. It's like the championship season for us. March Madness, right? Mm-hmm. Then you've got the baseball run towards Omaha. Hopefully we can get back there. And there is going to be an Omaha this year, which is awesome. I remember when we broke the news about spring sports last year, I was like, that's it for baseball. And you're like,
I was devastated. Yeah, that was awful.
Okay, softball's run to Oklahoma City, which is awesome. You got beach volleyball and golf. A lot of Knoll championship runs. Here we go.
Oh, if we're not talking about football, everybody's in a run.
And soccer's doing the springtime thing this year, too. And we're number 1 in the country there.
Go figure.
So the Knolls are going to be battling for a lot of championships over the next couple of months. That's awesome.
Yeah, by the way, sorry to you. Opening day was awesome yesterday. Sorry your guys didn't get to play, and nor will they, because that series has now been postponed.
The whole series.
Whole series.
So they violated the MLB protocol such that they can't have a taxi squad or, other players in their 40-man show up and play us in a baseball game. How are they allowed to make up those games? You broke the rules. You broke the protocol.
You broke the rules, you sons of bitches.
That is a season-opening sweep for the Mets, and I'm only half kidding. You broke the protocols.
Mm-hmm. It hurts, man. I'm sorry, Tom. Saturday's going to be hard for you. No baseball, but you can watch the Lightning take care of Detroit.
There you go. In which they will. In
the things that they do.
That's right. and the time.
Got
off the schneid last night.
I saw that. We got to raise the Jolly Roger in Pittsburgh yesterday, even though the game was in Chicago where it was 36 degrees. How crazy is Chicago weather? Because they go from 36 degrees for the first game of the year to 68 degrees for Saturday. So much more pleasant conditions.
That would be one starting pitcher for opening day looking at the second guy in the rotation going, you
really?
Bastard.
You son of a gun,
You bastard.
It was beautiful to have baseball back, man. I spent most of my day yesterday just really taking it all in. We had a great game right here on this network, ESPN Radio. You got to hear the Braves lose to the Phillies. What a great game.
Terribly unfortunate.
Yeah, so sad to see the Braves come out the box with a tough loss in extra innings. But hey, listen. The sights and sounds of baseball, which I cherish, were in the air all day into the night yesterday. I fell asleep to baseball last night. I laid down, put on the late game. I was watching Oakland and Houston, and I just began to drift off to sleep to the sound of a foul ball and then a mitt and some fans in the stands.
The fans in the stands help.
It was great.
They help a lot, and I watched the Twins blow it yesterday.
Ooh, did they?
By marriage now, I have an American League team.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw, so they blew it in so many different ways, but the Yelich liner to right center needs
to
be
You got to catch
caught.
the ball.
You got to catch that ball.
My man. It's right there.
But then in the bottom of the 10th, so that the game's not over, and they're doing this runner at second thing now in extra innings still, which I don't know how I feel about. But there's a leadoff single for the Brewers in the bottom of the 10th, does not score the run. You got runners in the corners, right? Okay.
They're doing that for the whole year again?
I guess so. I didn't realize this until, runners
Director
start.
Matthew, that's accurate?
Yeah.
What in the hell
Hey,
is
man, you
baseball
fact-checking
doing?
me? What's going on here?
I don't know. I thought maybe you were looking at something. What in the world?
Yeah.
Why did they?
They're doing that.
Oh, no.
but
That's
here's-
not. No.
Here's the worst part. Okay, so I think Baldelli's still managing the Twins. I guess maybe he fell asleep.
What in the
But
world?
It's first and third. They don't walk the next guy. Guess what happens? Ground ball to second base. They
and he
fire it
beats
home.
out the double play.
The tag is no, because it's nobody else.
Oh, nobody else?
They're throwing home. The tag is late. If it's a force play, guess what happens?
Yeah.
You're out by a step.
No, that's terrible, and I can't believe baseball adapted that rule. They kept that? That is, what are we, children? Oh, that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. No, sir. No, sir. That's not what we do. How did this snuck in.
Yeah.
I was not aware of this.
Yeah. This is like the 8-hole hitter in this lineup in a National League ballpark, so they got a pinch hitter on deck, and you're going to pitch to that guy first and third. That is terrible. That is god-awful.
Well, also, your boy jumps off the mound and should just take the sure out, given the score at the time. Just throw it first.
Yeah.
Don't throw it to second.
Yeah,
what
I
are you doing?
Scoring situation, man. They
Yeah.
weren't ready.
Nobody was
Minnesota
yesterday.
yeah.
Nobody was yesterday. A lot of teams struggling to figure out situational baseball.
Well, and he had the weird ruling in Colorado with the home run and Turner crosses the path.
Crosses the yeah. Thanks for the RBI single.
Oh,
And you're out.
oh.
And you're out.
And it's gone.
So I get screwed out of a homer. I do get an RBI single, but I'm out? Oh, okay. That's a conversation. It's not like he needs the money, but me and Turner are going to have a conversation, man. I get paid on home runs. I'm going to need you not to take one off the board, you dumbass.
He almost caught it, though.
I know.
So he had to double back. It's stupid. By the time they cross paths, it's already in the stands. Like the ball is out of the glove and in the stands.
Yeah.
At that point, just put the runs on the board. What are we doing? It's a stupid rule.
I guess. I just need you to be a little bit more aware. You're going to have time to get back.
We're debating baseball. Though.
That's good.
Major League
it's
Baseball.
Good. Later on, we'll do probables. That's going to be good, too. I love all of it. We're able to do all of this. And I know, you know what? I want to get into this because our listeners want us to, so I'll save it for the next hour. But I can't wait to getting into the renderings we've seen for the stadium. We should touch on that. I like most of what I've seen. I'm not one of these people who are just absolutely aghast at the thought of change or even downsizing in certain situations. And I do think, and I've been a proponent of this for a while, that Florida State has to downsize. Let's increase the amenities. Let's make it a more intimate experience at the stadium. I think that's the direction even powerhouse programs that aren't 3-6 from last year are going. We're seeing this happen because attendance is a problem these days because the viewing experience at home now is such that it wasn't like it was in the 90s and 80s where going to a game forever altered your vantage point. That's not true anymore.
So I feel like our situation as Florida State in the ACC is very similar to us as fans being fans of Florida State. And what I mean by that is we've dug ourselves into a big hole. Swaffy dug us into a hole because he needed the grant of rights to keep the conference afloat. Mm-hmm. But we're paying the price for it literally right now. The inefficiencies of acquiring money as Florida State University were innumerable for a long time. We dug ourselves into a financial hole within the athletic department.
You can't lose football games, Tom.
You've got an impressive ACC commissioner now.
Very impressive, but he does not have leverage.
But Alford is also really impressive. The moves he's making, the fact that the phone is ringing.
Oh, no, he's awesome. So far, he's made every right move. That guy is active.
They're
you can
making
see he's
calls.
Forward thinking, yes.
I've got friends in Tampa who've got a couple of bucks.
Those
they
calls.
never heard from the university, so they forget. Out of sight, out of mind.
Nope.
No longer
the case. No, that's absolutely true. It's exciting, and I don't disagree with that. I think it's just going to take time, a lot of time. And in the midst of all of that, there'll be plenty of debate about the directions to go. But you got to find a way to bring in more revenue. You got to find a way to make greater amenities, lure people up to Tallahassee, make it easier to go to games, all that stuff.
Yes, the attitude has to be screw the ACC and their TV contract. We're going to make our own money. We're going to do it ourselves.
We're going to do everything we can.
Screw them because they can't be a regular conference that gets paid big money.
Well, they were late to the game, but they didn't have any leverage. There's a lot of blame to go around there. Once ESPN had committed their dollars to the SEC network, they weren't going to simultaneously do it for the ACC, so that's not necessarily the ACC's fault.
I agree. It had to survive. It had to do what it had to survive.
Yeah.
But the attitude here has to be we're not going to throw our hands up in the air because we're at a disadvantage from the conference TV payout.
Well, it can't be.
We got to go get that money.
Right. You got to go get the money, and you got to do a lot of things.
Good hire so far.
You got to be willing to compete and do everything necessary. on and off the field, Tom. You got to do what you got to do.
I don't know what you're talking about,
Just saying.
but I like it.
If you're willing to compete, you got to go all in to do what it takes to compete. Chef Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Yeah, I saw where Albert Breer tweeted this out. It is amazing what schools will agree to. They just feel like they're bent over a barrel, and I assure you there are other good coaches out there. You don't have to give in to outlandish demands. Normally, that's the conversation centered around college football contracts for winning coaches in Power 5 conferences. Sort of this, why are they paying that guy $5 million a year, and why is that contract set up so that if we fire him after failed season after failed season after failed season, we still have to pay him $15 million more to walk away? Like, why are we doing this? This comes up a lot. But as Breer correctly points out here, Bill Self, Kansas, I can't read what he wrote, but in short, he said his agent must be a wizard. And here's why. According to the contract, NCAA rules and regulations by head coach directly said payments by head coach shall not exceed 20% of his total annual compensation. Current infractions case, the parties agree that athletics will not terminate the head coach for cause due to any current infractions matter that involves conduct that occurred on or prior to the date of full execution of this agreement. If the head coach is suspended by the NCAA and or the Big 12 Conference as a result of the pending NCAA infractions matter, the head coach agreed that he and BCLT will forfeit 50% of earned salary and professional services payment during the time of such suspension. So he gets paid 50% while he's suspended. 50% of his pay. Doesn't lose his job. They can't, in fact, fire him at all.
And the NCAA is about to go get Kansas. They're about to get him big time.
So the thing is, there are blatant rules violations that are coming forth that he committed. And his agent and him just orchestrated a lifetime contract with Kansas that distinctly says no matter what's revealed or no matter how guilty I am of these infractions that lead to what the NCAA is now handing down in the form of punishment, you cannot fire me. And, yeah, I'm probably going to get suspended by the NCAA. So as a heads up, not only can you not for cause fire me for my blatant violations of NCAA rules, you're going to have to pay me at least 50% of my salary while I sit out to serve a suspension for blatantly violating rules that has put us in a bad position, as in perhaps scholarship losses, opportunities to go to the postseason, all that, let alone reputationally.
It is now the Kansas Bill Self program.
Man.
It is no longer the Jayhawks program.
That is an agent for the ages, man. That is an unreal agent.
It would seem the fear of Roy Williams Part 2, departure from Kansas heading to North Carolina, might have been the impetus for these moves to be made. But whoever the athletic director is, oh, wait, I know who the athletic director of Kansas is or is soon to be was. Wasn't it the head of the...
He got fired.
Did he recently get fired?
Well, that's the whole situation with
he's going
Les
to.
Miles, yes.
Yeah, that's the guy who was the first college football playoff committee chairman who talked about the body clock and game control.
We already knew he
that
was
guy.
nuts. Yeah.
Whatever his name is, the guy with the glasses. So he should be fired for another reason now.
Jeff Long.
Jeff Long. He should be fired for another reason.
He's already been fired, so you can't fire him again. But
well, then whoever the hell replaced him should be fired for this reason. Are you kidding?
Well, the school president would have had to agree to this. You can't. That contract
should be fired.
Yeah, I mean, that's nuts.
You're going to ride or die with Bill Self through all the sanctions.
You are definitely riding and dying
until
with Bill Self,
he is dead.
Until he decides to ride out is right. That's exactly what's going on there. That's nuts. Lifetime contract. First of all, that shouldn't exist. Secondly, you can't have one in which you can't punish the guy for cause. Okay, fine. Say Nick Saban gets a lifetime contract from Alabama. That's probably as close to anybody could ever be to earning a lifetime contract with the hundreds of millions of dollars he's made Alabama and the umpteenth championships. Not like he's not still winning them. Just did again. So, okay, if I read that headline that he signed a lifetime contract with Alabama, I'd go, all right. But even he should not be immune to firing for cause. I mean, what if, I don't know, he beats the bejesus out of a woman in his office?
Well, if he did so the day after he signed the contract, they could fire him. But if it comes to light that he did so before he signed the contract.
That's what I meant. Yeah, let's say if they found that out. That's right. Right. You're right. They could fire him, yes, from this point forward.
Big difference when it happened. Yeah. Big difference. If it happened 2 years ago and he's guilty, can't fire him. Can't do it.
What if he was running coke out of that office for 10 years?
Is he currently running coke?
Nope.
Because if he's not, you can't fire him.
That is remarkable. That agent should be my agent. All of our agents. He's the greatest agent in the history of agents. That's just nuts. You know, guys, imagine that moment with a straight face he has to say to those that he's negotiating with. Listen, I don't know how you feel about this, but I've decided to work it in as a clause. We know the job that Bill has done for this great university. We all agree on that, right? I mean, do we understand the magnitude of his successes here? Do we all really appreciate my client? Well, good, because I think it's going to be important in the coming weeks and months, trying time for the university, to be reminded of how great my client is and what he's done for you guys. And for that reason, I don't want a situation. I understand how the media works. A lot of negativity, a lot of negative headlines perhaps coming down the pike from the NCAA. And we all know what had to be done there. And, you know, my client has been very successful. But you can't fire him for anything that the NCAA may uncover, because we all know what had to happen there, right? And he has been great, right? So you'll see that's clause 4C. If we have no objections, let's proceed with the remainder of the contract. Like, with a straight face.
Right. To which Bill shows up at the signing and he says, guys, wait till you hear what I did as he's signing the paperwork. I've got stories for days, and I'm now willing to tell you every one of those stories.
I can't wait to tell you. In fact, It's awesome.
This is what I have done. Forgive me, president of the university, for I have sinned.
Repeatedly. But you knew that, didn't you? That is something to behold, man. Something to behold. I can't fathom any athletic director or university president saying, sure, yeah, the past is the past. Whatever you've done, we're just going to let that go. Look, we're not – this sounds like, from what we're reading, there was real obvious violations of NCAA rules here. We're not talking about, hey, minor infractions that are going to be uncovered here. Yeah, teams should stand by coaches for competing in the arena that they have to compete in, understanding how that's done. We all get that. But, again, we'll use the analogy. You can't go 140 on the highway. There are repercussions for that. You want to roll past me at 85. All right. You're going to get there on time, I see. Okay. 90? Oh, well, now let's slow it down there, Chief. 140? Did anybody get the tag? I'm calling the cops. What are we doing? 140? You're a menace.
What this does, though, is it dares the NCAA to bring everything it's got. Because now the NCAA is rendered smaller than it already is.
Impotent.
And it's going to come with both barrels at Kansas. You're daring them. Because now they're going to say, well, he should be fired. And they could say, well, we doubled down.
Thanks for the suggestion.
We doubled down.
Yeah.
We're with him. You give us your best. Give us your best shot, and we're with him.
I've noted this before, man. There are moments where you read what universities do or don't do to coaches, or who they stand by, whom they stand by, and the messages they send to the NCAA all the time. And I'm still waiting for the day that they just make it official, that the NCAA recommends the following, and then a university president says publicly to the press, no. Because they basically do.
Right. Yeah, the only thing the NCAA could do is ban you from their postseason events.
Right. You couldn't.
But in terms of Scallies, you'd be like, no, that's fine. We're good. We'll declare ourselves champions anyway. It's all good. Yeah. We're fine. Football makes us money, not you.
It's crazy, yeah. But they sometimes do without saying it. They just, nope, not going to do that. Not going to do that. But you have to. You're like, no, we're not going to do it.
Who are you?
Kareem Garcia. Only Flaherty. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Back and checking on North Carolina. They're ranked just as we are, and we get set for this series against North Carolina. I love, listen, it's funny. Baseball is a weird sport. You can see these two teams as a great representation of that. Carolina's record is not gaudy by any stretch. They are 6-4 versus top 25 opponents, so that's nice. And they're 8-5 in the ACC, which is slightly better than we are after that way we started against Pitt. But they're overall 13-7. They got pasted by North Carolina State 9-2. They got their week started last week on a good note by beating East Carolina, who's a top 10 team, by the way. But they've had some issues with starting pitching. They gave up, let's see, what was it? They gave up 9 runs in that game. Then they fell behind 6-1 in the second game of that series before it was suspended due to weather in the 8th inning. The teams.
You're talking NC State?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It's noted here that Friday, right-hander Austin Love had given up 8 runs in 4 innings. Max Alba was only able to go 1 inning before he was chased. So they're having a hard time. I'm looking at. Yeah, these numbers are not gaudy. I thought North Carolina, when I looked them over, would be a better team right now. They're not trending in the right direction, but you might argue either is Florida State. Both teams have dropped in the rankings this past week. Rankings in baseball don't mean anything. I don't really worry about it all that much. We went from 15th to 18th if you're just looking at a sample like Baseball America, for example. And, yeah, to be fair, we're 12-8, 8-7 in the ACC, but we are 8-2 versus top 25 teams. And that is a gaudy record against really good teams. And, of course, we own so far this year our rivals. I'll live with all of that.
Yeah, it sounds like we are very similar to North Carolina. We've got better frontline pitching.
Yeah,
when we're
Peter
good,
Messick is better than what they have, yes.
but we had issues Saturday and Sunday last
did.
weekend against Wake Forest. We are what was that, 1-5 now? If you take those two teams that came into town and just beat our ass and hit us all over the lot, except for the Friday games or the season opener and then the first game against Wake Forest. And yet we have a lot of success against top 25 teams, which is what North Carolina does. So anything can happen this weekend, it would appear.
This is so hard. Baseball is not where it was. I think having a larger discussion about Florida State baseball looks like this. I think they're good. I think they're going to be good, and I can't wait for the postseason. It's weird. That's not the way I covered the sport for a very long time. That's not the way the sport was covered for a very long time. But access to college baseball games right now, pretty tough to come by. I mean, you could watch for many years that I did this business, that I worked in this business, you could watch every Florida State game. Whether you were either in attendance because, you could, and certainly I can go over there and watch games, but short of that, man, they're hard to find. ACC Network's not exactly in every household around here. And in addition to that, just in general, you don't get a sense. I'll give you an example. Look at War Chant. Go to War Chant right now and look at their front page on the eve of this series.
Right. Well, and that's where the traffic for baseball was down even when I was helping out over there. And, this time of year, right when spring football was going, March Madness, things like that.
Yeah, you have distractions, yes.
But you'd have like 3 or 4 dudes working at the same time. So sometimes Gene in past years would be like, hey, I need you. Can you go run the chat for the baseball game or whatever? Like, I'd be at Hauser anyway. That's fine. The traffic for baseball at that point, I'm talking 7-8 years ago, I think had already shrunk below basketball. Like it was neck and neck. It was thought impossible that it would ever get there.
There was a time where it was really easily the second most popular sport in this city.
Right. Well, in the city, that's the difference. And
War
Chant serves Noles everywhere.
Yeah.
But this is still very much a city team that Nole fans around the country pay attention to, I don't know, late May, early June, and that's it.
That's it.
If ever. Now, I care greatly about this program and this team.
I love it.
But I understand as well, for my friends that are living in Miami, Atlanta, Tampa, that I went to school with, it doesn't really fly on the radar for them all that much.
No, you have to be involved. Matt Britton, who I bring up a lot on this show because he was a team manager for Florida State baseball and my dear friend, those kinds of people still find a way. They're going to watch. But again, he was intimately associated with the program.
Yeah, it's still a pain in the ass to get games. It is.
It's just hard.
It's watch ESPN. It's the same. I don't care that it's ACC Network Extra. You actually have to pay extra for it now, and you can't have Comcast, or else you got to find somebody else's login, which is stupid. It's really stupid.
Really stupid.
Yes, it is impossible for this market to easily find these games and watch these games.
Well, and
unless you've got DirecTV, which doesn't make sense in the summer anyway because of the May and June storms for this time of year. So, yeah.
I just lament all the time the way that it used to be. I could watch on Sunshine Network or be at the park, but there was always – look, the ACC Network, for example, will routinely put on nonsense that nobody cares about when two top 20 ACC teams are playing one another in baseball.
Right.
Like, why is this on? What is going on here?
Because we're idiots. You know, when we align with the grant of rights, your third-party rights go out the window. We have channels in this state. Bally Sports, they're named now, but we have channels in this state. Remember, when we would go travel play Miami, it was on CSS.
Oh, it was, yeah, you would watch it, yeah.
So it was on a different channel, but everybody had that. It was like channel 16 or 17, whatever, and you'd watch it there. But we had Sunshine Network. This is where not having your third-party rights available to sell within your own region or state kicks you in the cojones. Big time.
I'm just frustrated that the sport is waning in terms of overall exposure and coverage. I get it. It's a weird time, and I don't know, maybe when we're filling that stadium up again, the feeling will come back. But
well, remember what our old colleague said. This is 5-6 years ago, and he was the general manager at the time, Ron. Softball does like 2-to-1, 3-to-1 numbers over college baseball. And yet, in that time since then, it's gotten harder to find college baseball on TV. Not easier.
Not easier at all. TV. No. It's a dangerous time in a weird way for college baseball. In terms of popularity or exposure and coverage, it's never been this bad since I've been covering Florida State. It's never been this bad. And what I mean is, I'm not talking about the team. The team's good. Just the lack of, it's funny. I just got nostalgic this very moment thinking about this. Not just because Sunshine Network existed and I could watch Florida State, but I could also watch, because Sunshine Network existed at the time, I could watch Florida and Miami. I would watch those teams. You'd really have an idea who they were because you'd watch their games too. But in addition to that, I mean, Section B technically I think still exists in terms of the web on WarChant. Like you can go to that. The
forum. I think they dropped the name. It's just the baseball forum.
It's just the baseball forum. But it used to be Section B. And, obviously Drew passed away, and that changed everything. I mean, that guy was the guy. He ran Section B, the animals, and he did the web stuff, and he passed away a number of years ago. And when that happened, I think it began to wane to the point where now but that was there was a time where that was a very popular place to go and catch up on Florida State baseball for people out of the area, and also to hotly debate, this move or that move, and should Coach Martin do this or that? And I don't know that happens like it used to anymore.
That crowd's still out there. I can speak to this a little bit better, like at least the transition time, because when I was with 24/7 about 10, wow, that's a long time ago, about 10, 11 years ago, and we would do our game threads instead of the chats the WarChant did, a lot of people ran to us because Corey at the time, Dowler, spent a lot of time on baseball. He loved covering that beat.
Yeah, he did.
So he brought some clout with him there, and there were conversations. And it was just a message board little niche community. But there were like, probably 12 to 20 posters that were always there, and then you have some fly-by-night guys. So they're still out there. And I'm sure that they're still there 24/7 in WarChant as well. But it's not, you're right, it's not centralized. There's like this is where you go for FSU baseball stuff.
Everybody knew that. I remember that those were like the topics, the debates, the strategic discussions. They were fun. That was one of the few forums I didn't post, but it was one of the very few forums I ever went and checked out because there were some really interesting baseball guys on there having interesting debates.
Well, here's a wild idea, too, for the ACC and ESPN. Why not lease your rights back to Bally Sports Sun so we can watch? Why not? You have the rights. I'll bet they would buy them.
I'll bet they
would.
Yeah.
So why not, instead of your web platform that like 50 people click on, how about putting it on channel 402 on Comcast in Tallahassee?
Would love it.
By leasing it back out.
Would love it, yeah. It's just, unless you go, it's hard to get a Florida State baseball game.
Bro, the ACC logo everywhere on the broadcast. Who cares? Just let us all have it on our TVs.
Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, Libations Friday edition. Hello, hello. I think a bunch of you, maybe in your car on the way out of town right now. I suspect I'm on to you. A lot of people had today off. Some people have Monday off, including my wife. School system, Tom. Taking a little time. So if you bookend it, you could have a nice beach weekend.
Okay.
A little chilly.
So you're saying the school system has Monday off?
I believe that many and well, the kids do. I don't know about the teachers, but they may be taking that day.
Okay. All right. It's contagious days off, you know that, right?
Well, we'll be here to preview the national championship contest the other way, because the Final Four is upon us.
Okay.
And we begin there. You know, I've gone from liking the story to hating the story because, and oh, by the way, we're on YouTube. You can email JCS at 979ESPNradio.com. On Twitter, it's at JCameron Show. All 3 hours headed your way when it's over. Go check Apple Podcasts or wherever you get podcasts. The UCLA story is what I'm speaking of. I don't like it when teams that aren't any good have a chance to win a national championship. And so this story needs to meet an end. It was fine. Good for you. That's cute. Worked out well. But this has to end now. Don't you take a title from somebody who's clearly better than you because you play really well one night. Don't you do that. Somebody might fight back to that and say, Jeff, that's not fair. They're settling it on the court. They are. But then why even have a regular season? Just don't even bother with it.
Well, hang on now. With the tournament, I mean, why even have it in the first place with the tournament the way it is? And Coach Ham, amongst many others, want an expansion of the tournament field.
Yeah. I don't know what.
So why even have one is correct.
Yeah,
that is where we stand right now. 68 in the field renders the regular season hardly anything.
Well, there are 300-plus teams that play college basketball. You do still have to do some work to get into the tournament.
I know, but like 200 of them are out already before you even begin.
Yeah, usually. The Bruins are the first team in NCAA men's basketball tournament history to reach the Final Four after entering the tournament on a 4-game losing streak. After dropping their last 3 games of the regular season, they lost to Oregon State in their first game of the Pac-12 tournament. No team has lost its conference tournament opener on the back of losing 4 straight to enter said tournament and go on to win the NCAA tournament. That's where the Bruins sit, though, with an opportunity. Now, they are playing Gonzaga, and, you would like to think that tomorrow night the comeuppance shall be handed over. But, I mean, give them credit. Again, they're finding ways time and again to win games, mainly with their defense right now. It's nuts. This is how they compare all time to the Cinderella runs that we've seen in the NCAA tournament. I remember this one, Raleigh Massimino. You weren't alive. It was amazing. I watched that game. They played a perfect game to win the 1985 national championship. 1984-85 Villanova Wildcats. From January 27th to March 8th, Villanova went 6-7, culminating in an 89-74 loss to St. John's in the quarterfinals of the Big East tournament. They were 19-10 that season. Pretty butt-ass average when you consider you usually schedule 5 or 6 automatic wins. They were an 8 seed in the NCAA tournament, won 6 straight games for the first time that year, and then won 66-64 in that epic game against Georgetown. They remain one of 3 teams to win the national championship after entering the tournament with double-digit losses. The other, famously, NC State, 1983, Valvano running around the court. Oh, that's a long way. He got it. He did it on the dunk. An amazing call and run, yes.
It was considered to be just old hat by the time Nova did it because
2 years
NC
later,
State had just happened in recent memory.
Yeah, Kansas did it in 88, too.
Oh, my God. The 80s. Out of control.
It was crazy. 2010, 2011 UConn Huskies. UConn went 1-4 in its last 5 games, 4-7 over its final 11 games. They started the season 17-2. They looked good. Then they fell to pieces. They proceeded to win 11 straight games, though, once their conference tournament began, winning 5 games in 5 days to win the Big East tournament and get in
Including the Syracuse however many overtime game, right?
That was a crazy, crazy stretch of games, and then they got completely on fire and won all 6 of their NCAA tournament games, beating Butler, if you recall, to win the national championship.
Ooh.
Butler was there in the national championship.
Butler. And just years before, we had beaten them here in the NIT.
That's right. That's right. 2015, 2016, there's your boy, Syracuse. They lost 5 of 6 games entering the NCAA tournament. They lost the first game in the ACC tournament. They were relegated to a 10 seed. They were 19-13. They basically sucked. They made the NCAA tournament as a 10 seed, beat number 7 Dayton, number 15 Middle Tennessee State, number 11 Gonzaga, and number 1 Virginia to become the first number 10 seed to make the Final Four. The run would end, however, as they fell to roll it out there, Roy, in the North Carolina Tar Heels.
Man, so Boeheim is such an ass, but he'll forever be somewhat of a friend for his comments about Greensboro.
Oh, that was the best.
He used his powers for good that day.
Oh, it was funny. Just peeing on the faces of the fine folks of Greensboro.
This ACC, what is this?
What are we doing here?
Greensboro?
Yeah.
Why are we here?
We're going to this cow town. That's what we're doing here. Come on. This should be played in Madison Square Garden. We all know it. What are we doing? We know why this is played in Greensboro. That was good. Team I hate more than any other team in the history of baseball compares to this UCLA team. The 2006 St. Louis Cardinals.
Oh, me too. Me too.
In a bad NL Central that year, the Cardinals still only managed to win 83 games.
Yep.
They lost 9 of their last 12 games, won the division with 83 wins. Postseason, they beat the Padres in 4 games, the Mets in 7. Yadier Molina providing the key blow with a 2-run homer in the 9th inning of Game 7.
Off of Aaron Heilman, number 48, which has since been very much cleaned up by Jacob deGrom.
The Cards cruised past the Tigers, who won 95 games that year and became the World Series champions with the lowest regular season winning percentage in the history of baseball to win a World Series. They won 51% of their games and won the World Series. And that, I almost feel like we should revoke it.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Tigers were paper champs that year anyway. The Mets were the best team in baseball in 2006. It's not even close, but 2/3 of their 2 aces got hurt.
No.
And then
It's
this
like the
sorry
98
sap.
win Pirate team.
Yeah, that's baseball, man.
Cruel.
Worst loss I've ever suffered in my sports-loving life. Game 7.
Well, I've had a number of them, Tom, and everybody knows Sid Bream's gimp ass round in 3rd.
Bases loaded, nobody out, down 1.
Oh,
and the heart of the lineup coming up.
balls down the heart of the plate.
It was, I think it was Delgado, Floyd, Valentin, Belt. Well, anyway,
What are you going to do?
what are you going to do?
2009 Saints were 13-0 at one point. They took their foot off the gas pedal. They lost their last 3 games. They won the NFC South rather easily, got a first-round playoff bye, blew out the Cardinals in the divisional round. I even forgot about that game. Beat the Vikings in overtime to make it to their first Super Bowl after beating the Colts 31-17. They became the only team in a 16-game season to lose its last 3 regular season games and win a Super Bowl. But I don't put them in this category because they had 13 wins prior and they had already won the damn division, so they kind of sat guys. That's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the
That's
same.
not the same as sucking all year long and then somehow finding lightning in a bottle as you enter the NCAA tournament, which you barely got into.
There's Bounty Gate in there though, somewhere, right? So
That's that game against the Vikings.
yeah. No, I'm just saying that there's that though.
Oh, there is that, yes. 2012 Baltimore Ravens started the season 9-2, stumbled down the stretch, lost 4 of their last 5 games, edged out the Bengals for the AFC North title, but missed out on a first-round bye. Baltimore regrouped in the playoffs, winning at home against the Colts. Well, this is a famous run. This is a quarterback betting on himself and making a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Flactorious.
And then won the epic road game on a ball thrown to the moon against Peyton Manning and the Broncos. That is crazy, the misjudged.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of with that play is the USF game here in 2009, the hottest game on record. Remember that one? And Mr. Terrence Parks miscalculated the vector of where the ball's going to come down. He could have fair caught an interception and it found a way. Same thing as the Flacco play.
And by the way, the Ravens held on to beat Tom Brady and the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. They then held on to win 34-31. The lights went out, as we recall, over the 49ers in the Super Bowl. And a very different time for both Jim Harbaugh and a certain quarterback that started for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, definitely. And that was also John's big moment. He called the pass to Bolden on the short, I think it was 4th and short, and they decided to throw outside to Anquan, and they used his steely mitts, and he came down with it.
I knew you'd like this segment because I eventually have to arrive here, which you would enjoy. The 99-2000 New Jersey Devils. The Devils fired coach Robbie Turek, with 8 games remaining in the regular season. It's one of those crazy foreign spellings, F-T-O-R-E-K. They went 4-4 under interim coach Larry Robinson. Before turning it on in the playoffs, New Jersey overcame a 3-1 series deficit against the Flyers in the Eastern Conference Finals, knocking off the Dallas Stars in 6 games, including a double overtime thriller in Game 6 to win the franchise's second Stanley Cup. Sergei Fedorov celebrating a Stanley Cup win with the Red Wings after one win in their final 10 regular season games. Did you know that happened in 01-02? Detroit?
No, I did not know that.
They had 1 win in their final 10 games.
Wow, that's crazy.
They fell behind 2-0 in the Western Conference quarterfinal against Vancouver Canucks.
That was probably the Messier team.
Detroit bounced back, won the next 4 games to take that series, and then coasted from there on out, winning 16 of the remaining 20 games they played.
It's funny. All I can think of when you're talking about those eras of Red Wings games is the Big Boy ad on the boards. That was very Joe Louis Arena, the yellow Big Boy ad.
Yeah. Final one, and we have a homespun sort of side note on this one with Kenny Knox being involved. While UCLA was among the last 4 teams in the NCAA tournament, John Daly was the last one in, or 9th alternate, in the 1991 PGA Championship field. Daly, a 25-year-old PGA Tour rookie who did not fit the profile of the typical touring professional, got a spot in the tournament only because others above him withdrew. The long-driving Daly quickly won over the galleries with his aggressive style and pulled off one of the greatest upsets in the history of golf, making his first tour win a major championship. Kenny Knox played with him on that fateful final day and had a chance to win the tournament himself, a major, and I don't think looks at John Daly with any fondness.
No.
Not because of the loss, but because of what he did with the galleries and how loud they were when Kenny was trying to hit.
But then also, it's such a fluke if you're Kenny because it's a 9th alternate's going to rise up on my week.
Oh, yeah, on my
the
week.
9th alternate on my week.
That's what you're going to do. Play over your head in a way. Now, in fairness...
It's a Libations Friday now if he's listening.
Well, it's Libations Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning for him. I mean, that's whatever. But I will say... not Kenny. I'm talking about John.
I was talking about Kenny.
Sorry.
If he's listening. Sorry, Kenny.
Buddy, have a cold one. But, that would... that's a toughie. Well, I don't know. Is that tougher? Probably. But is that tougher than going out and shooting like a 63 and losing at the British because Henrik Stenson decides he's going to play the best round of golf that's ever been played?
Yes, Kenny's is tougher because Phil's been there and done that. He had already won the British.
Yeah, I know. But, man,
it's unlucky as hell.
It's unreal.
But Phil has a lot of laurels to rest on, in terms of major championship victories. If, your whole career, intersects this one moment, and then freaking 9th alternate in the field is going to be this guy who's going to be face down in the muck, 5 hours after he wins. That's not cool. That's not cool. I've worked my whole life for this damn moment.
Yeah, but in fairness to John Daly, I dare say, while we didn't know who the hell, nobody did, who he was in 1991, we soon learned that he was immensely talented. He did follow it up with yet another major victory and had chances at several others because he didn't suck. I mean, he could really play. He is as one of the most talented players of all time. He's just a mess.
And he shouldn't have been in the field because he's the 9th. I mean, 8 dudes. Even in COVID, did we ever get to the 9th alternate? I don't think we did.
Not even close. Not even close. What was going on? We need to go look up what was going on. It's a major. How are 8 guys withdrawing from a major?
9. You have to be the 9th alternate. I mean, Jesus.
It doesn't make any sense. So I've gone from cool story UCLA to get your ass kicked, which they will on Saturday night. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Hope you're enjoying your libations Friday. Man, the NCAA, guys, it's just not that hard. What are we doing? I cracked up when I read this headline. Arizona women's team notices absence from Final Four promo video. With the women's Final Four set for Friday, the NCAA women's tournament account, the NCAA tournaments account, not the March Madness handle commanded by the men's tournament, tweeted out a run-of-the-mill promotional video to preview the events. They forgot one of the teams completely. This is like when they left the 5-pound weights over in the corner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, here's your weight room.
This has to be intentional. It's not, but you would think it has to be.
Yeah.
Like how this is, they're so indifferent about the women. It's unreal.
Yeah, you saw the comprehensiveness of that video, too.
Oh,
it's like they said there wasn't enough room. Here is the ballroom,
Yes.
which we have as a workout area.
Oh, no, the whole thing is absolutely insane.
Did you hear what he said this week, Emmert?
Well, he admitted they screwed up.
No, but he said that they're going to have to figure out what they want to do. Like, it was like, okay, now you fix the problem. He whiffed. He whiffed on something where he could be a fake appalled, and he could say, I am just appalled.
Well, he already did. He did say that.
No, but he's like, but the women are going to have to figure out how they want to go about the process. Oh, it happened yesterday. It was on one of our sports centers. I was like, oh, my God, he did not say that. He did.
Well, see, this isn't hard, and I think a lot of people who listen to this show maybe would want some clarification from me, knowing that I don't talk about women's basketball and I don't like it. I don't like to watch it. I'm not apologizing for that. I don't like to watch women's basketball. I think it sucks. But I understand the need to treat everybody fairly and equally. Yeah, it's not hard. It's not hard. That's what you do.
So Emmert said we let them down, quote unquote, but he also said that the women's basketball community has to determine specific improvements it wants to pick up and run with. Oh, boy. They're the ones who put on the damn events.
Yeah, it's nuts. The video featuring footage from a Wednesday photo shoot involving the four teams completely ignored Arizona, who advanced to their first ever women's Final Four earlier in the week with a win over Indiana. Now they'll take on UConn after South Carolina and Stanford battle at 6 o'clock on ESPN. I rewatched it a couple of times. I was like, wait a minute. I don't see any red, said senior guard Ari McDonald. It was frustrating. I definitely took it as a sign of disrespect, but it's what it is. Got to get it together. Oh, that's a good quote. I mean, we're not worried about it or anything. We're going to do our thing. Definitely, you're going to see this translated on the court, I guess, but that's funny. Got to get it together. Yes, they do. Yes, you're right, Ari. They got to get it together. It's just not hard. Like people would say, well, don't be hypocritical. I'm not being hypocritical. You give them equal, the men and the women equal access to facilities, to workout equipment. You're housing the NCAA tournament. This is a no-brainer. This isn't hard.
The question is, how many years has it been like this before somebody on social media was it? This is the power of social media. This whole thing started with whatever, I think it was a TikTok or Instagram live post, whatever it was.
The girl who filmed the differences.
Yes.
Yeah.
And proving line by line and showing within the same facility what they have to deal with and what the guys get. And it's the NCAA. Like, if it was a for-profit venture, like the college football playoff, right? The college football playoff is separate the NCAA. Then you might have a leg to stand on. But given that the NCAA's
that's what I mean.
Purpose,
that's their whole deal. This is so easy.
Go get them. Go get the NCAA. Take their asses down.
Well, that's why I say this felt like it would have to be intentional. It's not. I don't think it is. It's just ignorance. It's just stupidity. It's just incompetence. The coach for Arizona, her name is Adia Barnes. She's one of two black coaches at this year's Final Four, a first to ever have that happen. And she notes, those things that get missed sometimes shouldn't be. There are four teams that have worked really hard to get here. Stuff like that should never happen. Now, she's restrained, I might add, in her comments there. I mean,
yeah.
this could have gone another direction.
Dude, okay, so we get pissed, and rightfully so.
Well,
As
the
Florida-
ACC does this to us in
Yes.
every one of their promotional videos for football or anything else.
And they're showing Notre Dame football. You asses.
Yes,
You absolute
yes.
incompetent asses. But imagine if it was a merit-based promo, meaning, we get to the college football playoff, and it's us and Bama and Clemson and Ohio State, and they show those three schools. Oh, my God, that would be a national scandal.
Yeah, and like I've never had a problem with. So, for example, we talked about over the years. I've pointed out the NBA is funding the WNBA, and they have to because if you look at the WNBA crowds, there ain't nobody there. So we talked about this. The ratings are terrible and all that. Well, okay, so what does that lead to? Well, that leads to the kind of conversations about what sort of amenities are afforded the men's NBA players as opposed to the women's NBA players. Well, listen, that's the byproduct of popularity
Right.
and success. That's what that is.
You're
This isn't-
subsidizing the other
That's-
product to grow the game.
That's correct.
That's the
But
point.
this is different because it's the NCAA.
Correct.
So it's very easy to differentiate the
Oh,
two.
this is totally wrong. It's
unreal.
and yet they're indignant.
Yes. Well, that is something. It's just,
I mean,
I read that headline. I go, how could, on the heels of all of the inequities that we saw in that video and that have been documented and admitted to, this is no longer in dispute. The NCAA said, yep, we did it. We screwed it up. Sorry about that. They did. Originally, they came right out and said, oh, yeah, that's a terrible oversight on our part. All right, so now let's just say in the moment, okay, that happens. And, you're made aware of this now. It's on a national stage. Shouldn't the first mandate from you in a closed-door meeting with your people be, now listen, the spotlight is on us. We have butchered this. Let's not compound the problem.
but Emmer did, and that's where the scene in Happy Gilmore. He hits the first 400-yard drive, and he hits the guy or the lady, and she falls out the window. And they're like, you hit that lady. She shouldn't have been standing there, or you hit that guy. Shouldn't have been standing. That's Emmert.
Yeah.
He's like, you shouldn't have been standing there. You got to figure out what you want to do. You got to pick up and run with it.
You shouldn't be women.
Now we failed you.
Yeah.
But you got to figure out what you want to do here.
It's your fault for being a woman. It's the Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. This is fantastic. And this falls right there under the umbrella of Libations Friday and more than most. Now, you guys that follow all this stuff, forgive me, because I'll butcher these dudes' names, and I have no idea. I do have respect for them. I just don't really watch the sport. I know I should, because there are a lot of people that I could reach in this forum. If I did, it would expand the roster of things we could talk about on a regular basis.
This is NASCAR?
No, God, no. I don't feel guilty about not following that sorry sport. But, no. MMA, UFC, all that stuff, you know. I don't ever watch it. I know everybody does. I shouldn't say I don't ever watch it. I don't follow along the soap opera where, like, this guy is on the rise and soon he's going to be fighting this guy and, you know, this match. Every time I turn it on, it's like UFC 1,432. I'm like,
right.
Good Christ, these aren't even big. It's like every Tuesday.
It's Khrushchev versus De La Mesa.
Yeah,
it's going to be a big one.
I'm like, I guess.
The biggest one ever.
Yeah, until next week when we have another one of these. So that's the thing about that sport. Now, I have immense respect for anybody that gets into a boxing ring, anybody who gets into the octagon.
There you go.
Use
the term. Use the term.
Everybody gets in the octagon. Anybody, if you're doing that kind of mano-a-mano battle where you could get killed, and you could. Yeah. No, that's something. And I you know, you feel a little something inside when that happens, because I don't care how good you are, it doesn't take much for you to get caught. The other guy's getting paid too, and he knows how to fight, and so do you, and it takes one false move, and let's see, have a good one. And so the best do get caught, you know, and I do admire that. He knocked the hell out. It happens. But also with MMA, dudes break legs and fingers and wrists and shins, and I never thought I'd watch a combative sport where I got a little squeamish, where I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't think I would have been all right going to the Coliseum. You know, if they were like, let's go to the Coliseum, and you go to the Coliseum and lions are tearing dudes apart, I don't think I would have been like, yeah, this is awesome.
Right, yeah. You'd like gear up to take your kids to the Coliseum, you know. But the thing is, life is that horrifying everywhere else. So it doesn't really faze you.
Yeah, no, it was a tough time to live. Those were not good days. Most of the days preceding electricity, Tom, were not good days.
You must have been something before electricity.
I mean, those are tough times. Tough times. My brother and I were talking. I told you I read this book. Oh God, I'm forgetting the name of the book about. But it was Summer Moon, I think it was, or whatever that was. It was something to do with not the Cherokees. What was wrong? Comanches. I told you all about the Comanches.
Oh, they did not mess around.
Oh, the Comanches were not having it. They were not having it. Empire of the Summer Moon. Fantastic book if you haven't read it. I read it. I couldn't put it down. It was so good. And, well, we could do an entire show on that book.
Maybe one of the bellying ups.
Oh, my God.
The Comanches were,
the best of the best.
Well,
they were not having your nonsense.
The best of the best. Yes.
Hey, listen, this is the way it was.
You.
On the plains, I mean, we got to fight for resources. I mean, this is what this is.
They played for keeps.
They played for keeps. In fact.
And they'd send messages.
Oh, yes. They did. One of the things that I thought was fascinating about the Comanches is they did not have a word for give up or concede, or it was not in the vocabulary.
Right.
So when they were negotiating, well.
They were like Jim Harbaugh in the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, he's called all the timeouts. Yeah, it's just like, dude.
The Comanche principle says we must call timeouts.
Yeah, there's no word for them to concede or give up anything. So they're like, what do you mean? Like, well, you give us this and we ain't giving nothing.
Yeah. So
no.
A Comanche would watch The Godfather and say, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
A fish in a newspaper.
Yeah, no.
You kill them.
You kill them. Now. That's the end of it. It's cut and dry. Like, at least you know where you stand there. You know, it's like Charles Barkley's principle on racism. Like, he'd rather somebody call him the N-word to his face than to be nice to him in public and think that they're friends only to walk away and say that word to their friends, right? He's like, that's ridiculous. I'd rather the guy just say that I know exactly where I stand with you and who you are. You know, and the Comanche were like, oh, no, we're going to kill you.
That's correct.
This is not, there's no, we're going to kill you.
Oh, plunder.
Oh.
It's going to be plunder.
Yeah, if you lose, like there's, you don't want to lose.
Yeah. No.
Like this is.
Oh, it's biblical. I mean, what they
Oh,
do. It's like
it's
the
fun.
ban in the
Yeah.
Old Testament. Read up on the ban. That's
yeah.
what they did.
No, but what
Oh,
makes me
God.
laugh when I read that book, there are moments in that book where they document certain aspects of history. So the plains, there's nothing there. And the government hadn't stretched that far to where they could police people or protect people. So this is how the Texas Rangers got invented, by the way, not the baseball team. But
That'd be awesome, too.
yeah, but so what ends up, and it's very complicated, and a lot of you history buffs know all this, but what's interesting is there were, so for example, there were Mormon families that just decided, well, we're going to go west, young man. We're just going to go out and we're going to grab a plot of land because there is nothing there. People don't live there. And we're going to build a house and we're going to farm the land and we're going to create our own community. Screw all you people. We're going over here where we can do our thing. And they would be warned. The government would say, well, I don't know if you want to do that because here's the thing. We don't have any way to help you if you get into trouble.
And we've seen some things.
And there are some things that go on out there on the plains. Even if the Comanche don't get you, and they will, but even if they don't, it's harsh, man. I mean, blinding snowstorms that come sweeping through the mountains, and that's your ass. I mean, you're not getting out.
Yeah,
I mean, we're in wagons here, man. We're in wagons.
Yeah, we complain about the weatherman not getting things right,
Oh.
but not having a basic idea of a
No
front that's coming
idea.
through. I mean, imagine tilling the land through that.
Well, they look up at the sky and see the Comanche knew it was coming because they'd been there for hundreds of years.
Right.
So they'd be like, oh, this tree is blowing this way. We're in trouble. So anyhow, they would tell those people, don't go. Go if you want to go. But it's probably not going to end well. And it did not end well. So they put themselves out there and they were taken care of.
Dum.
Right. It's just great. And when you'd read about it, I'd laugh. I mean, I would catch myself laughing because these guys were the hubris, the arrogance. We'll just talk to them. No, man. These people have seen the conquistadors. They've seen the Spanish come in. They stole all their horses.
We do not care for your Jesus.
No, we know what you're trying to do. We're not having this.
This is our land.
Yeah, you're not going to just come here and talk to us about your God. No, we're going to go ahead and kill you. That's how this is going to work. And so they were arrogant. No matter what happened that came before them, the horror stories that came back to Texas and the surrounding areas, like, yeah, did you hear about the Parker family? Ooh, that's a toughie. Yeah. They even killed the old man, but he was last. He had to see his entire family, every generation tortured first before they got to him.
Dismemberment.
Yeah.
You name it. You can dream it. They can do it.
They did it. Yeah.
That's right.
So, and they left him alive to see it all. His daughter, his grandson. I mean, brutal. Yeah. So they would go, they just must not have known what they were doing. Let's go.
I know better.
Yeah, I know better. Right. No, you don't. So anyhow.
They should have put that on the Oregon Trail.
Why did I bring up Empire of the Summer Moon? I was talking about UFC. Okay. So here we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Back to the octagon.
Yeah.
Comanches would have been something in the UFC.
So when you read that stuff, just like we were talking about how tough life was with the Romans going to the Colosseum as well, there are things that I read where I think, no, I don't think I could have withstood that. I don't think I would have watched that kind of combat. I mean, you got to do what you got to do if you're involved in it, but I would not have engaged that. I don't know that I would have wanted to go to the Colosseum and watch some of the things that went down there. But who knows, as you correctly point out, it's all relative. If I didn't know any better, maybe I would have, because life sucks. What do I care?
You'd see people hacked to death in the streets anyway.
Yeah, you're just kind of like, okay, well, that was interesting. It was a tough day for him. Yeah. That kind of a thing.
Stole some lettuce. I mean, that's a little harsh.
Seems a bit much. He was hungry. It's 96% water. But so here's the thing. I have never got into the sport, but I do admire the combatants. And here's one of the reasons why. Here you go. This would fall into the category of our injury grading scale, probably as a 10 out of 10. I'm just guessing. I don't know
scale
that we've
of
ever
0 to Adrian Beltre's testicles.
Woo!
Where are we going? That's the scale.
Best part about that story is that he made the play. He made the play. That is unreal. Go look that up, folks. Maybe don't type it quite that way.
Right. Yeah. That probably wouldn't
That
work.
would be a unique Google search. Like nobody's ever actually searched that, I don't think. You know how there's nothing new
Somebody
under the
searched
sun?
everything. Yeah.
Well,
I'm sorry. I'm digging up the umpire getting hit from the spring training.
It's my favorite.
Because
You get the sound?
Yeah, you can hear the ball. You have to listen really closely to the beginning of this clip.
And when you watch this video, it is something.
Line up the middle, nails the umpire, and he is down in a heap. Everybody's safe, but Brad Myers is in a world of hurt right now.
Wow, he had no chance to get out of the way of that baseball. And I mean, he saw it coming and he made one move. And that was about it because it nailed him and down he went.
Reds training staff immediately out there, as are the Indians trainers.
He had no chance and he couldn't turn sideways, and where that ball hit him, I think, from my first look, is that it will take a while to get him up.
Play it one more time. Listen closely for the second sound, not the first.
Line up the middle, nails the umpire, and he is down in a heap.
Oh, the flesh.
Everybody's safe, but Brad Myers is in a world of hurt right now.
Well, so that scene, my favorite part is your boy has the presence of mind to let us know that everybody's safe.
That's true professionalism.
That is unreal.
Yeah.
Like, never mind, this guy may die of exploding testicles. Everybody is safe, just so you know.
Line up the middle, nails the umpire, and he is down in a heap. Everybody's safe.
Except for the umpire. That would have been awesome if you had said that.
And the analyst is right, because he did like a shimmy to his right or left, and the ball was hooking right at
just
him.
Frozen.
If he had stayed where he was, it might have grazed his hip or something.
Oh, well, that's a sheer panic moment. There's no
right. There's nothing
your body's
you can
just reacting. You don't even know what the hell you're doing. You're like, ah. That's like a Pedro Martinez fastball riding in on those wrists.
Or it's the panicked, your playing partner saying, "Get down, buddy," because you went ahead of them in the cart.
Yeah.
You got a turtle.
It
hits you in the tailbone. It hits you in the tailbone, but you can't let it hit you anywhere else.
You can't get hit in the face or the head. No. So finally to the story. This guy is an MMA fighter. He's had to undergo surgery, but an bout that aired on UFC Fight Pass. Somebody lost a little bit more than a fight. So I'll just read from CBS's story.
No.
MMA remains one of the most bizarre sports on the planet for a number of reasons. Most notably, though, some of the craziest injuries tend to happen when combatants are punching and kicking with partially covered 4-ounce gloves. The latest bits of these injuries comes to us from Cage Fury Fighting Championships. Ketag Pilev faced Devin Goodall, and between the second and third rounds, Pilev and his corner seemed to notice something was wrong. That something was that his right ring finger was now missing.
Oh, my God.
A person seemed to misplace one of his fingers. The fight was called off when the officials noticed, quote unquote, the injury.
Oh!
Pilev was taken to the emergency room for immediate surgery. He told ESPN in an interview that doctors told him he had torn off the tendons of his ring finger. It's unclear as to how the finger became dislodged from the socket.
Oh!
As Goodell noted, he didn't remember it coming off. Goodell was declared the winner by TKO after the incident.
Oh!
Pilev believes the finger broke in a grappling exchange early in the first round.
So he just powered through.
In the second round, he caught my glove with one hand and held it, Pilev said in an interview. I felt my finger snap. This dude he's fighting is a freak of nature. What in the world? Mike Piazza's hands over here. What are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
He kept pulling my glove, and my finger just sort of snapped. We kept fighting. When the second round was finished, I began to see my bone, and it was out in the open air.
Oh, God.
I wanted to keep fighting because I felt like I had a chance with this guy. Oh, not me. No. My man grabbed your hand, your balled up fist with his hand and broke your finger crunching it. How strong is this dude? This is the dumbest thing in the world. I would have immediately said, oh, no, Moss, we're done here. This guy, I don't want any part of this. This man is breaking my hand with he just caught my punch. First of all, who does that? That's in the movies. It's not real. People don't catch people's punches. Like WWE, they do, but not in real life.
That's right. You're hulking up.
You've never seen anybody in your life catch some dude's punch. It just doesn't happen. Not amongst grown-ups. Oh, I felt like I had this guy, but the doctor said that we had to stop the fight. Yeah, man. CM Punk, remember him?
Oh, yeah.
Was calling the event for Fight Pass. Said he couldn't believe what was taking place. Quote, I don't understand exactly how this happened. We're not going to replay it for you, ladies and gentlemen. It's a compound fracture and more. It wasn't a dislocation, a break, or a laceration. His finger was just gone. It seems to have been ripped off. That's an amazing thing.
Yeah, that's
Somebody ripped another dude's finger off of his person.
So where was it? Just on the mat? And how did the ref not see that?
So here's the thing. I clicked so halfway through the story, there's this little thing that says warning, image is graphic.
You did it.
Oh, yeah, I clicked it. I don't care about people getting their finger ripped off. I want to see it. So I clicked it hoping that there was video of this or a finger line on the floor or something. And what you see is, and you guys can find this on Twitter if you want to, what you end up seeing is that he's standing there holding his gloves, and his coaches and his doctors are looking at his hand. They're confused. They're like, you can see they're looking at him like, my man, you're missing a finger. And he's just looking down at it like, I don't know what happened. Dude ripped my finger off. Like, he's just. So they've reattached this thing. They found the finger.
Where was it? Was it like on CM Punk's broadcast table?
Here's what I think. From what I read a second article about this. It looks like, I don't think the finger went like into the air. Like it wasn't.
It fell into his glove or something?
Yeah, it went down. So he shattered the bones, ripped it, dislocated it, compounded it, and then like the part that goes down from the knuckle kind of curled into the glove. Or not the glove, but the little white wrap.
Yeah.
And so then the bone is protruding out, okay, and the rest of the finger is now pushed down into because he was grabbing it.
I can envision that because my biology and anatomy teacher in high school had the edge of his middle finger ripped off in a face mask when he was playing football.
Yeah, that hurts, yeah.
And you see the way the nub looks, so I can see, because he'd give you the finger, like the three-quarter
It would
finger,
just be a
he'd
nub?
flip you off, and it's a nub. But you could see how it happened. So I think I can picture this now.
They're grappling. My man just destroys this man's ring finger, which is ridiculous. And then, as they're grappling, it's getting pushed down into the wrap. And then he's sitting there. He gets over to the corner. He can't even feel it anymore. And he's looking down. And he's missing a digit.
Oh.
And meanwhile, the compound fracture, that bone is sticking out, so he can't keep fighting. That's like a weapon. And, yeah. That's unbelievable.
That's nuts.
I remember when Ronnie Lott lost his finger.
Made the choice.
He made the choice to have it taken off. And I can remember for years that was the story. That was emblematic of the crazy toughness. That Empire of the Summer Moon, kids. Read that book. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today, at least for this week. Happy Libations. Friday, everybody. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming free. Always, don't miss anything. If you do, go back, get caught up at your leisure, as we'll post all 3 hours of the program on Apple Podcasts. And really wherever you get podcasts. You can email the show if you like, JCS at 979, ESPNradio.com. Twitter's at JCameron Show. Hello, YouTubers. We should start with this. I like this. I'm reminded of something. We talked about this some in the first hour, but to revisit, recap, for those of you hopping in the car, you, pretty much all over the internet, you can read a story about how Florida State is looking at perhaps making some changes to Doak Campbell Stadium. And there was a meeting by the FSU Board of Trustees. Seminole Boosters CEO Michael Alford noted that they're looking to begin pre-sales and discussions about basically the viability of a project. And that project would be completed by 2024, so pretty quickly. And these are in the preliminary stages. And you can see the renderings more than anything else of some of the changes that they want to make here. And there's some things that stood out. I read the WarChant.com article, so credit where credit's due there. They did the survey, and 95% of the respondents said they wanted to maintain or upgrade their current seat locations, yes. More than 90% said they would like to see stadium enhancements. Sure, that's everybody, always. And they were, according to Alford, overwhelmingly in favor of improved concourses and restrooms. Doak's old, man. I mean, the innards of Doak is very old. As somebody who's been coming to games for 40 years, I can remember, the erector said, I can remember all of the stages, maybe not all the stages. Our late friend Earl can remember literally every stage.
He'd be able to tell you encyclopedically.
Yeah. But I go back a ways enough now to tell you that obviously I remember attending games when Doak was nothing like it is now, not even close. And hell, we just kind of had this conversation the other day when I was talking about my buddy who went to film school here. And when they were adding all that you see now, because the film school housed there, and I remember all of that brick that we now see. And that's really, the aesthetic of Doak is beautiful from the outside. And I guess maybe I took it for granted because I had a buddy of mine who went to Nebraska undergrad, and Nebraska, obviously, fans and graduates, alumni are really, really proud of Nebraska. I mean, they've got a ton of national championships. They are woven into the fabric of college football. Now, they've been obsolete for some time now, and they stand as a cautionary tale as to what can happen if some poor choices are made, which is why our fans are so scared right now. But anyhow, they're a traditional power, and they've got a beautiful stadium and loyal fans, and they travel. And then I've gone to Oklahoma games. You've been to Texas games. We've both been to Notre Dame. I've been to the Big House in Michigan to see games. I've been, a lot of places. I've been to Tennessee. I've seen, the 100,000+ there for the Volunteers. I've seen all of that. Colorado, Washington, lots of places. Love college football. And one of the things that is pretty customary is when you encounter other fans, they'll talk about how pretty they think Doak is. And that started to hit me when Nebraska fans and Oklahoma fans and Texas fans and Notre Dame fans and people just fans of college football are like, oh, this place is really nice. And it's funny because to me, Doak always had character because it was an erector set first. You're just kind of like, it's representative of how quickly things changed, and Florida State's prominence within the sport dictated that they needed to add, obviously, more seating. And it happened so quickly that the charm of the old place was literally just engulfed by what you see on the outer facade. Now, that is a beautiful-looking stadium, but the innards are still the innards, and it's not pretty. It's old. It's antiquated. It's not nice. I never cared about that because, frankly, I don't need all of those amenities if I'm going to sit in my seat, I'm in my seat. I'm watching the game. As long as I can have access to a bathroom and a concession stand, I don't really need it to be state-of-the-art. That's fine. But things are changing rapidly. And one thing that really stands out to me, and every time I read one of these surveys, there's a couple of things happening all around the country. It's not just here. The vast majority, not all, the vast majority of college football programs, this even includes mighty Alabama and others, saw attendance drop-offs over the last 10 years. We have read countless articles as to why that is, or people's opinions as to why that is. Most of them center around the amenities, the modern amenities we all have access to, affordable modern amenities such as 80-plus inch televisions that are now no longer $10,000, but rather $2,000 or $1,500. The fact that the quality of the picture has radically changed from the time we were kids, where you're watching a glass tube TV and you didn't realize it at the time, but in retrospect, you really couldn't see a damn thing compared to what you see now, right? So going to a game then was life-altering. You saw everything. You saw, for the first time. It's like you went to HD, right? You go into the stadium and you go, oh, man, this is so much better than when I'm watching a game on my little 32-inch television at the house and I can't see half of what's going on. Now I see it all, and I get this atmosphere and the smell of the grass and the sights and the sounds of it all. But the modern television does most of that. You can see everything crystal clear. Sometimes it feels like you see more when you're at home than you do when you're at a game. And that is certainly true if you'd like to keep a tab on, the other 5 really good games happening simultaneously.
Yeah, I could tell you that just doing the post-game show from my house this year, it was way better. Like, I was much more informed because when the commercial breaks happen, I'd rewind and go watch
look at a play again.
So for key sequences, I've already seen it 2 or 3 times by the time the game is over. You can't do that when you're in the stands.
No.
It's not possible.
No. You lose out on an in-game experience, which is still valuable. I could watch a concert at my house with surround sound, incredible speakers, a huge television. I could sit there with my family, turn off all the lights, and see whatever show that I wanted, right? It is not the same as being at that concert. It's just not even close. That still exists to some extent with live sports. That is true, and they'll always have that allure. But if you couple the fact that Florida State is in the middle of nowhere, it is a very difficult place to get to for many of our alumni, with the fact that amenities have become greater and greater and greater. And that stadium lacks much of those amenities and is antiquated, you get a very obvious answer, which is you got to downsize. You got to downsize. You upgrade the amenities, you downsize the seating. Now, people seem to think that that's antithetical. You need to make more money. Why not more seats? They're not being filled, man. People aren't coming. And I have a suspicion that if Florida State went 13-0 next year, and then sold season tickets, they still would have a hard time selling out every game. Yeah, I really believe that. It's just not that easy of a place to get to, for starters, and B, people do not value the fan experience the way they once did when watching at home sucked. It doesn't suck now.
But I think what they're doing with these renderings and pitching these ideas is not only like a good attempt at making sure that people want to come. I think it's actually apt. What they're looking to build is apt, because you need luxury, man. You have what you're describing, the luxury of the fan cave or the man cave, right? Or the bar that has the Vegas wall, like our friends at the CPU sponsor Libations Friday. You've got to compete with that. When we sit in the Vista for basketball, one of the best parts about sitting in the Vista is you have 2 televisions in there. So you can keep tabs in the other games. Yeah. The band's playing the fight song during the break. That's great for, the noise in the background. But then you go and check, is Syracuse winning? Because that's an important game for us in the ACC. People expect these things now. And
they want more concessions. They want more Wi-Fi, for sure. Improved Wi-Fi.
Where you can start is with the damn Wi-Fi.
Well, the Wi-Fi's awful at Duke. It has been for a long time. It's rather useless. You actually can't use it.
And it's possible. We've been to Jerry's World, and you know who does a great job of it? Florida.
Oh, there are a lot of places.
Wi-Fi is fantastic.
The vast majority of places I've been to that actively promote their Wi-Fi, like they let you know when you come in, like, hey, we got you. You want to check your scores for your fantasy team? Come on, we got you.
Plus, what it provides you is an opportunity to serve ads on the Wi-Fi system, too.
Yes,
there's another revenue opportunity.
Yeah. So, the ordering from your seat is very convenient. You go to a mini hockey arenas now. That is a commonplace thing. You just pull up your phone, got it. They come bring you your beer, whatever. I quote from the article now, "We had one of the highest rates of return rates of a survey that CSL has done in the collegiate market," said Alford. "Our fans were very engaged, and our fan base is really telling us that they want a different experience. 70% of our fan base comes from over an hour and a half away." Well, where are they coming from? Atlanta, Jacksonville, Orlando, Tampa, Miami. And what are they experiencing there? Professional stadiums. They go into those other venues, they see those amenities, and they can choose their experience, where they have about 10 different options, and they're wanting us to provide that experience. Now, part of what does crack me up, and this is just a very modern issue because of the internet, which didn't exist all that long ago, but I am blown away by a lot of these surveys. The responses basically are that we don't want to be at the game. I mean, they might as well just be saying they don't want to be at the game. That they have an appetite for comfort, extreme comfort. They want to watch from a couch. Like, literally the word couch is in this report. They want couches. What are we really saying here? You want to watch the game on your couch at the house is what you're saying here.
But what you've got to do is create the upper level of like a Churchill Downs, right? Because you also have to make it a place to see and be seen and a place where business can be done. And that sucks.
It's the worst. My brother in Boston tells me he can't even go to Fenway anymore because all it is a see and be seen thing. And they've created all these packages where young professionals go in. They don't care about baseball. You got to be seen there. And so if you sit down to watch a game, you're going to hear the most ridiculous conversations you've ever heard.
That happens at the Champions Club.
It does. It does. I hate it. And I don't hate the Champions Club. I'm saying I hate that aspect.
How could you? It's the Lang Memorial.
You're trying to watch the game.
Right. Yeah, the plaza level conversations and all that. And it's like, hey! And it's like,
there's a play going on. Like, it's 2nd and 6 of a tie ball game.
You don't want to say hi to me. You want people to see that you say hi.
Right.
It's a very, yes. But that's what you need to cater to because those people spend the damn money and they spend it in gobs. They think of it as an expense, like a business expense. Not like the warm and fuzzies of having a ticket and taking your kid to the ball game. That's what this is about, and you've got to get those people money.
Because many of the seats in the West stands would be impacted by the changes, Alford said existing ticket holders will have to choose whether they want to consider new options in the same location or if they want to look at other spaces in the stadium. So, that's going to be the controversial aspect of this story.
Go to the pit, mob. Yeah. That's where you watch the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and remember, a lot of long-time season ticket holders got in very early on as a family, let's say, and they have these incredible seats, and they haven't had to spend gobs of money to have those seats. Mm-hmm. And now they're being told you're going to have to spend, and they're going to be pissed. I mean, that change is always met with pushback.
Yeah.
Even if it's good for you, it's met with pushback. People just don't like change. So I expect there's going to be a percentage of the fan base that's like, you got to ignore them, Mike. Just proceed.
I know one thing you'd be all for, and I don't know how you could pull this off, but if there's a way that you could lobby and prove the money that you would make, a small jetliner company and be able to fly people in from Atlanta and Jacksonville so they don't have to do the drive. But it's like the Knoll Airlines, or it's like, think about it.
You know what this is going to do and what door this is going to open.
I know, but
I have beat this drum for 20 years.
But even if it's Millionaire that you fly into or whatever, if there's a way the university or the booster community can do that, think about it. When you go to Denver, hopefully when I do, they have bus liners to get to Red Rocks.
Well, they have to because the Denver airport is in Alaska.
When we went to Chicago, part of the deal we did with that awesome company was we had coach buses that took us from Chicago to the pits of the world in South Bend.
Right.
Well, you've got to have that perhaps with a plane system.
That was bizarre. It was sunny, and then all of a sudden it was ass.
Right. Oh, God.
When you got into
Mordor,
South Bend,
man. It was terrible.
Weird.
What a dump. But, you need that with a plane because we've got too much ground to cover. The state's too big. The region's too big. This isn't Orlando, Tampa. This is legitimately like a 4 or 5 hour endeavor, let alone Miami. But what if you could fill a plane with Knoll fans from Miami to Tallahassee back and forth, and you could do so at a reasonable rate?
At a reasonable rate.
That's the way you do it.
If you're in Miami, you're likely coming to, at best, 2 games a year. I mean, you're not coming all the way from Miami.
You'd come to 4 if you could fly.
Maybe. Well, yeah, if you're rich, you would, because that ain't going to be cheap. I mean, no matter how you slice it, flying from anywhere is not cheap. I mean, even the cheapest tickets aren't that cheap. in addition to having to actually get tickets. You would have to pay for that service. But you're right. It beats the hell out of driving from Miami. I mean, if I lived in Miami, I don't know that I'd come to a game ever. It's just ridiculous.
It's always about the drive back. There's nothing wrong with the drive there. It's the drive
Well,
back.
you're all anticipatory and excited, but, man, when that game ends, almost the second it ends, you go, son of a bitch.
My entire Sunday's gone.
Well, not just that. You can't even have that much fun on a Saturday night because you're thinking about how early you got to get up to drive back to Miami. It's heartbreaking. Like, with each beer, you're like,
Knoll Airlines. Here you go.
let's go. I've almost been in tears driving back from Miami before. I'm like getting in the car. My boy Matt lives down there. I've had to. We've had a grand time together over let's say we'd go down to Doral before Trump screwed that up, and I'd go to that golf tournament, and then you know what? It was the best time in the world because I'm there on a Thursday for the opening round. We go back on a Friday, maybe even go on a Saturday, having the blast, and all of a sudden, man, the wait, it's the 60 minutes freaking clock in your head.
Oh, it's terrible. But you've got to find a way to do that for the medium level booster because the super rich one that's going to spend on the Loge, club, suites and whatever, they're already flying into millionaire anyway. Like that's the kind of money they have. But if you can find a way to make it easier, even if it is a bus liner, I mean, damn it. So you don't have to think about driving. It's going to suck to be stuck on a bus, but at least you're not driving. It's very different.
I don't think I could do the bus from Miami.
The Knoll bus?
Well, here's
all you can drink specials on the bus. You play classic games on the bus, on the TVs.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Boy, oh boy, that bathroom would be something on the bus. I'm not sure.
Well, you'd have rest stop schedule.
Well, and remember, most of the time, large groups of people suck.
Yeah, I know.
So you unless you could house that bus or man that bus with your boys, or and their wives or whatever. I'm not excluding women. I'm saying, but you knew everybody that was going to be on the bus, because you get stuck in there with a bunch of randos. I don't care if you're like-minded Knowles. I think by the time you got to say St. Pete, you'd be like, okay, all right, this is a toughie. I'm about done here.
Oh, from Miami?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm thinking of the 4-hour drive.
Oh, from
Atlanta
Tampa.
And Tampa and, Jacksonville's closer than that. Panama City. Like, if you created those liners, that's what you do.
Those individual sales calls will start later this summer and be conducted over the next year or 18 months. We will sit down individually with every person this affects one by one. You're not going to get something in the mail that says this is what's happening. We'll sit down and show them. Here's what's coming. Here's how it affects you. Here's your options to move forward, and you will have the first right to stay there. We're not saying you're gone. Well, that's good. That's probably a good idea.
Yeah. But first right of refusal means I'm raising the prices and you're gone. We all know you're gone.
Well, maybe, but you do have the first right. But,
Right.
but raising the prices absolutely is implied here, and you're going to get a better experience, Tom. You get what you pay for, pal.
Well, Jeff, you can keep your beautiful Infiniti QX80.
Yes,
you have the first right
craft.
to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
However, your lease payment is now going to be $1,750 a month.
That's not far from what it is.
Now you have the first right of refusal.
Yeah,
to
I do.
Well,
I like having the opportunity. Thank you, Chris Kraft.
Yeah.
Glad you just didn't take my QX80 and
Right.
give it to somebody else. Now your experience may change, but you have the opportunity to stay there. If you choose not to stay there, you will have priority to relocate at the next available time.
Oh man.
I liked reading that. That was so fun. I love when people just get bent over and it's disguised with flowery language.
Bend over.
I just think it's the best. It's so wonderfully corporate America, which is ridiculous. And it's just people that are good at that. I love it. Alfred, you're awesome, man. And it's not his fault. He's got to do this.
Oh, please do. Yes,
He's
got to
do it. He's got to do it.
He's good at it.
Oh,
so far.
really good at it, man. Listen, I'm going to read this again because it's just, now we've gone into the Jeff Cameron Show PR mode. It's just so freaking awesome. We will sit down individually with every person this affects one by one. You're not going to get something in the mail that says, this is what's happening to you. We'll sit down and show them. Here's what's coming.
It's a phone call. I'm not gonna
Here.
sit down.
Here's what's coming, Tom. Here's how it affects you. Here are your options moving forward. You will have the first right to stay there. We're not just saying you're gone. Now, This is always the best part. When the now comes, it's a little bit like but or no offense. ... Grab the ankles. Your experience may change, but you do have the opportunity to stay there. Good use of opportunity.
Bend over.
If you choose, now you chose this, John. If you choose not to stay there, you will have priority to relocate at the next available time. That's code for never again.
Bend over.
That's infinity. What do you choose to do here, John? Again, it's your choice. You don't have to go anywhere.
That's the kind of thing the FBI could do to you. A sharper image catalog. What does she find?
Heartbreak, Mitch.
A seat license, Mitch. An expensive one.
Alfred said discussions are still being had about what changes could be in store for the East stands. Oh, we're going to get to you as well over there in the East stands. I was just addressing those in the West. At the very least, he said, they will look at renovating the concourse areas and adding cooling zones where there will be improved concession offerings and a place where fans can get a break from the heat during afternoon games. Now, that's wise, and that's not like code for anything. We know it is hot as Hades in here for the first month of the season, and we also know that, look, our concessions kind of suck. We're going to upgrade. We're going to spruce it up a little bit. You can get expensive cocktails over here. We got the cool zone kicking.
We'll throw you a bone, Mob. We'll throw you a bone.
Yeah, that's
You
nice.
can't help us. You can't help us get where we want to go with these capital
But we'll
campaigns.
give you a cool zone.
But we're going to give
Get
you a
some
fan.
of that mist. Get you some of
That's
that mist right there, baby.
It'll be like room temperature water, but that's still better than 100
Get
degrees.
you some of the mist. Look at that. So they changed this place all up. What did we get? Well, we got some mist. Don't forget the mist. Feel that on your face. By the time the renovations are complete, the stadium's capacity would be reduced to about 70,000 seats. That would be 10,000 less than the current capacity, which was reduced from 82,300 during the Champions Club construction. I want to bring this up. I have been, and I think I was ahead of my time, for the reduction of Doak for a very long time. Back when it was 83,000, I was like, nope, too many people. We're never going to fill this place up anymore. And the game is changing. It's happening everywhere. And I wanted him to go down to around 65,000 was my original proposal. Now, there was real pushback there, Tom. They didn't want to hear that. Our fan base, in email or tweets or whatever else ways that they could contact me, said, you can go to hell. Kick rocks, Cameron. But there I was, standing strong and firm in my stance.
That's correct.
65,000 and you'll like it. It's what's good for you. You'll thank me later. And it's happening.
Supply and demand, baby.
It's happening.
Got to get the demand up.
Well, what you do,
Too much supply.
You lower the number of seats. You minimize those seats to a respectable 70,000. Nothing wrong with that, or 60,000. And the 60,000 that are in that stadium get one hell of an experience that day. They get a much more intimate experience. You get them closer to the action.
Very tasteful.
Yeah, you get the intimate action there down closer to the field with access to a lot of amenities, such as wicked fast Wi-Fi. In fact, we'll call it wicked fast Wi-Fi. Anyhow, the point is the experience is an upgrade across the board if you can get in. If you can get in. There it is, supply and demand, upgrade of experience. Mm-hmm. We all win. So I'm glad he sees it like I see it. Though Alfred, the former athletics director at Central Michigan and a top administrator at Oklahoma and Alabama, has been at FSU since last summer, the idea of renovating Doak has been a hot topic of conversation for years. The stadium, which was constructed more than 70 years ago, has some infrastructure issues. You don't say. He believes the project will actually more than pay for itself over the long haul, and any excess revenue will go to fund other facility improvements.
I would hope so. What else is going to go for, like college
My
town?
house.
Yeah, right? Like,
none of the prices for those new areas have been determined, by the way, according to Alfred. That likely will happen in the coming months. So, guys, you have time to mentally prepare yourself for the bend over.
So years ago when they were talking about ripping up the concourse and doing some things, I remember the rumor being that the stadium is so old that you've got building code problems.
Yeah, you got all kinds of issues.
So my guess would be a couple of these boosters who are committing big dollars to this project will help us with the red tape and cutting the red tape.
Oh, yeah, you got to get a lot of that.
You got to know
taken
some
care of.
people. I believe that would be a big expense on this front.
This is such a weird time to be documenting Florida State athletics, just on so many levels. But when I hear this and I think about this, and I'm fine with all of this, doesn't piss me off in the slightest. I know it's not fair because you guys are like, fine, man, you got a press pass. What do you care? I got you. But my dad still comes and
We
he's
need to
got
get that
season
money,
tickets.
man.
And yeah, we got to get the money. But here's the other thing that I'll tell you. It just reminds me that they got to tear down that dump that's Dick Hauser Stadium. And if you walk through the innards of Dick Hauser, it's embarrassing. It's just it's a rust festival. It's nonsense. They got to do something with that place. Now, the outside, just like Doak, looks beautiful. You get in there, you're like, cobwebs, rust, antiquated, decrepit.
At least they added fans the last 5 years. Big fans.
Yeah, giant fans. There it is. Hey, we give you fans.
That's right. We got to get
Here's some misters.
Listen, we're going to get missed at the next available time.
Yeah.
At the next available time.
It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Thanks to you guys over there on their Twitter for sending me a request yesterday when it was announced that my man, Roll It Out There Roy, was calling it a day. Yeah, this was on the horizon. It had to have been, right? When I started calling him Roll It Out There Roy a few years back. It really happened basically the year after they won the national championship. You just started noticing not so subtle changes about the way Roy coached his team and the way that they responded to him. And we would bring it up on the show on the regular. I'd say, I don't know if you watched North Carolina last night, but those guys didn't play real hard. They didn't feel like putting it on the line, and Roy wasn't doing much in the way of adjustments, and hence it was born. Roll It Out There Roy became the permanent name, which my favorite part about that is, okay, so I was having a little fun with the nickname, and then you guys went to Wikipedia and changed his page, which is so fantastic. I think it's been changed back.
I'm sure it was instantly, but I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Do you still have the screenshot? Does somebody out there still have the screenshot?
I think so.
Please
I think I saved it
that.
somewhere in my, I've got it somewhere.
It
said Roll It Out There, Roy. Roy Williams calling it a day, saying it has been a thrill. It has been unbelievable. I've loved it. That from the 70-year-old Roy Williams at his retirement press conference at the Smith Center. It's coaching, and that's all I've ever wanted to do since the summer after my 9th grade year of high school. No one has ever enjoyed coaching like I have for 48 years. In fairness to Roll It Out There, he wasn't always just rolling it out there. He spent 18 years at North Carolina, going 485 and 163, led the Tar Heels to national titles in 05, 09, and 2017. He coached Kansas for 15 years, and I remember every one of those too. Golly, I'm old. He took it to Final Four appearances before leaving for his alma mater. I remember he couldn't get over the hump, and people were devastated. And they would say terrible things about Roy Williams and his time from 1989 to 2003 in Kansas. But alas, I don't know if he got any smarter, but he got to North Carolina and did win national championships, chips plural. So he is an all-time great coach. He just hasn't been any good the last 3 years. And the thing that I would point to with this is I am pleased. I know I make fun of the guy all the time, but I am pleased that this charade didn't have to continue. I always hate when legendary coaches, or players for that matter, hang on too long. And we all know it. Nobody likes to bring it up and say it, but you have to. You have to see it. Like Drew Brees, listen, that guy has been a Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest players of all time. He's done wonders for that community in New Orleans, especially after Katrina. He has given a lot of his time and money. Yeah, I know he had some missteps here in the past year, but the bottom line is we saw his play begin to really fall off a cliff, and a lot of that's due to injury and age. It was that game in Tampa in the win, man, I'm telling you, that where he could not make throws beyond 25 yards without really laboring. They took forever to get there. I called you that day. I was like, man, that guy can't throw.
That was a tough loss.
What's going on?
That was a tough loss.
Well, we had no business losing. He couldn't throw the ball 10 yards down the field. Yeah. I mean, beyond. But the point is, when you see it, when it happens, when these guys fall off, and it happens to everybody, you just want somebody close to them who has the ability, who loves them, who's looking out for their best interest, and has the ability to speak to them honestly, candidly, to be able to pull them aside and say, hey, and then, look, I don't know that you have the energy right now to do what's necessary for us.
You're saying you weren't in favor of Arnold Palmer shooting 96 back-to-back days at the Masters for like 10 years in a row?
Like, don't do that, man. Don't. It's hurtful when you watch it. I don't like it. I don't like it. Get him out of there. It's like having Willie Mays out there stumbling around in the outfield at the end.
Cost us the 73 World Series.
No, I mean.
Yeah. There it was.
Greatest center fielder of all time. Shouldn't happen.
So I'm told. I wasn't there.
You can't have Ted Williams out here drooling on himself at the All-Star game.
That was no good.
That was no.
Or Steinbrenner.
Oh, well, that was funny because he's a criminal. But that's a toughie, man. I don't like to see it, and I want guys to put somebody who really loves them Get that arm around him. Like, hey, man, you've done enough. You've done enough. This sport owes you for life. It always will. You are a Hall of Famer. You have done all there is to do in this great game. It's time to enjoy time with your family. Get up on out of here, man.
My favorite moment when somebody called it quits, not like a press conference, it was like their final thing, was when, and I hate the first guy I'm about to mention, but like Pettit and Jeter went to get Mariano.
Oh, that was touching.
That was
really touching.
Because he was so great to the end. He was great to the end, Mariano.
Oh, man, you just give me the chills.
Remember that?
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was really well done. Andy Pettit can,
Whatever.
proverbially go to hell.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man. Mariano's look when he's like, oh, my God, it's you two.
Well, yeah, and he's fighting back tears.
And they're his peers from the time. I mean, that was epic. Yeah. That was so epic.
Really, really, really good. That was a good move. And the Nike commercial for Jeter was probably the best commercial ever.
Yeah, that was good.
I can watch that, the long version where he's going all through the city.
Not shown was him presenting baseballs to the many women that he encountered over his time.
A legend indeed.
Yeah.
It's Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Happy days. There it is. Am I allowed to say Libations Friday? We have all show. For some, it's a Libations Friday. Others see it as a much more significant day.
Oh, I see where you're going with that. But yeah, it's a Libations Friday. Yeah, there will be libations in the very near future.
You're ready. You're raring to go, I can tell.
I am. Well, the weather's gorgeous. You get this last cold blast. Like, it's a little cold, but you know what? In 2 months, we're going to be longing
we'll
for this.
Be longing
so
for it, yeah.
I'm really happy about that. And then low key, we didn't tell anybody, but and meaning you or me, but there's a Little League team with the show logo on it out there in town.
That's correct.
Yeah, I'm going to see them play a few innings tonight. So
That is get a picture.
I look forward to that.
Get a picture with the show logo.
First pitch is in like 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. And yeah, I forgot about that. You called me and said, "Can we do that?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." So they're wearing the logo?
Yeah, it's a garnet shirt, and then the show logo is just all gold. Like,
that's
so,
fantastic.
Yeah. So you look like gold dust or something.
Of course. That is so perfect. Get a picture of where are they playing?
Chairs. They're
Oh,
playing out of
nice.
chairs
They're playing
tonight.
out of chairs.
So by my
It's a really
neck of the
nice
woods.
park, man.
So the manager is a friend of mine, and
yeah.
you know the manager as well.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Hey, we're playing at Chairs. Can you come this week?" I said, "Absolutely."
I'll come. I got to come out to a game. That's fantastic. Good for them. Oh man. Well, go Fighting Jeff Cameron's.
That's right. Yeah, when they win, they should chant JCS. JCS.
That is fantastic. Let's do probables.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
Nice. We're going back to back.
Yeah, well, it takes a little longer because it's on YouTube. You know,
Oh, we didn't put it in this.
it was not in the system of the former music director.
Freaking wino. How does he not have Withers in the system? What are we doing? Also, just that's the one aspect of, well, it's not the one aspect, but there is some antiquated things about the way we operate. And it's restricted our ability to continue to expand the catalog of Bumper. And so we're YouTube and Withers. This is not what you do.
But then there's also the concept of, with the pods, you have to scrap some of it too. It's a very sad time. It's a very sad time. We spend a lot of money on music licensing. Every station
I don't know
does.
why. I don't know why.
It should extend to digital.
Yeah,
what are we doing?
You would think. They'll argue it to their blue in the face. Ridiculous. Rays, Marlins. Funny to watch the Rays yesterday win 1-0 on the back of 2 Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean, that's the only action. A dominant performance from the former Pirate and a home run from a former Pirate.
I caught the last couple innings of that one after the Twins
They
blew
could
it.
pitch. Oh,
Yes.
boy, the Twins blew the hell out of that.
God.
That was a
So
collapse.
Jamie went for a walk in
Oh,
the 8th inning. She was like, she didn't say we're good or anything like that.
Oh,
She said, I'm just
yeah.
going to go for a walk. And I'm watching it like,
Oh, it fell to pieces. I watched it too.
she's not going to be happy when she returns.
I enjoyed the hell out of baseball yesterday. You and I had a good day, man. We were
Yep.
listening to baseball on the radio the way it's supposed to be. Then we watched baseball. You got a nice mix of everything.
Oh, there's no doubt. The one thing that they got to tweak, though, so Bally Sports, it looks okay, the new graphics instead of Fox.
Yeah.
But if MLB Network throws to it, you can't see the damn score.
You can't see the score at
it's
all.
on the bottom.
Yeah, they
So
got to fix
either
that.
MLB Network's got to throw in the score in the top right, or they need to move it. What is this? 1995 with the lower liner, the bottom line?
Yeah, you got to stop that nonsense. Also, by the way, if you're watching the MLB package on Xfinity, some of them were like, "Oh, sorry, can't get it." And I'm like, "What
Yeah,
are
that
we doing
happened
here?"
to Padres Diamondbacks
Yeah,
yesterday.
XRE. It
Yeah.
comes up on your screen. I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
Get it together, everybody.
Oh, we just bought the .TV. That's what we did.
I'm annoyed. Ryan Yarbrough, Pablo Lopez, your matchup there. Dodgers, Rockies, Trevor Bauer. Just pisses me off. Because, of course, they went out and got Trevor Bauer. 3-year, $102 million. Here he goes. Makes his debut.
Well, he's a head case. He could kill that clubhouse.
I hope so. Cincinnati going to go for the Rockies there. They also blew it. Dallas Keuchel's pitching for the White Sox. I forgot that dude was still in the league. Andrew Haney going for the Angels. White Sox are going to be good this year. I'm going to see the White Sox play in June in Pittsburgh.
Nice.
I'm also going to see the Indians. Well, I'm seeing the Pirates, but but they're the teams that come
You
in.
pick two good teams
Yeah.
to go watch the Pirates battle.
Yeah, it'll be fun. I mean, we'll lose to the White Sox. Well, hell, we can lose to anybody, but we beat the Cubs.
Well, their studs hurt, though, the White Sox. The young
Oh,
kid.
yeah. It's 6 months. That's a
Yeah.
brutal entry on the last day of spring.
That's a very Mets thing to happen.
Oh, that'd piss you off. Astros, A's, Christian Javier, Jesus Luzardo. D-backs, Padres, Merrill Kelly, Blake Snell. Merrill would be the name of a woman married to a mobster, and they're being yelled at. Giants, Mariners, Johnny Cueto. Kikuchi. I got to do it.
You did. First one of the year. How's
Yeah.
it feel?
You see Kikuchi.
I see Kikuchi.
Feels good. And that's a look at those that shall reside on the bump.
Little light is shining through the window. Lets me know everything's alright.
Crack up every time we
But
hear
it wasn't
this.
all right.
No. I laugh every time I hear this song, not only because it sucks, but because I'm picturing them in the studio thinking that they're kicking ass. And everybody's just looking at each other, head nodding. Yeah, John's on it today.
All this song makes me think about every time I hear it is the smell of National Geographic and Golf Digest magazines at the barber shop on US 19 at Sunset Point Road next to the Varsity Club.
Yeah.
Because the barber, Joe the Barber, he's from Boston. He always played WDUV, the Dove, which is
Dove.
basically this Yacht Rock.
Yacht Rock, yeah. Oh, on a beautiful day like yesterday, you got the windows down. Yacht Rock is fine. You're just kind of like, all right, I hear you. America's coming on soon.
It's sneaky good golf music too.
Yeah, we hadn't done that yet. Next time we're out there. I had to charge the speaker this morning, Tom. I got the speaker all charged
All
up.
right.
We're good to go.
I still got to go pick up mine because the magnets, man, you just forget about it.
Yeah.
It's at the beautiful, palatial Seminole Legacy Golf Club.
Which you played pretty well at your first time.
I fired an 85.
Yeah.
I went quad double to start because I was so nervous to play the course. I was just so fired up to play it.
Well, you must have just been straight going par money after that.
It got really fun for a while there. Yeah.
Good work out of you, good work, Matthew, and we do appreciate you guys listening to the program. Have a wonderful weekend. Should be a good one. Gorgeous weather, baseball. You've got the basketball to boot. Everything is on the table right now. It's a good time of year, my friends, and soon the Masters comes rolling on in. Man.
Unreal. I know. We got to get our pool emails out to the people.
By the way, yesterday, Charlie Hoffman can go to hell.
What'd he do? Nothing?
+5.
Oh.
Sorry ass. He's won the tournament. He's finished in the top 10 like 6 times. It's the only place he plays well at anymore. I take him for the final pick in my rotation. That ass out here throwing up a +5. I don't know what he did today. He might have been good.
He's probably 600 today. That's what Charlie does.
I hope so. He can give me a daily. If you can't win the overall tournament, you got to win the dailies. Got to offset. I didn't win a sing. I had a rough go last session. This is the side one I do with my buddies. Last session, I had a tough go. I did not win but maybe one tournament, but I won a boatload of dailies, and it offset all my losses. I
There you
broke
go.
even.
Nice.
Some other guy funded the session.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Did you tell him about it?
Yeah. That dude had 3 wins, and he was bragging about it. I'm like, yes, and you owe whatever you owe. I said,
3 wins and you lose money?
Oh.
That's messed up.
well, because he either won or he did nothing. You can't just do
Oh,
nothing
yeah,
in the other
yeah.
tournaments. You got to have a daily here or there. You got to have a little something.
The argument against Brooks's career.
It's exactly that. It's absolutely. You got to show up for the other events every now and again. Have a great weekend, everybody.